people and civilians. I mean, it's been really, really bad stuff. So, yeah, suddenly the relationship of Saudi Arabia and the United States is being called into fundamental question, which is a very good sign, and really by the people who have the most control. So, Trump initially responded to questions about Khashoggi's disappearance by saying, "I don't like it. I don't like hearing about it, but hopefully it'll sort itself out." But on Thursday, he's began to sound much less confident in his defense of Saudi Arabia, the first foreign country he visited as president. He said it was really looking like Khashoggi, who's been a critic of the Crown Prince, was indeed murdered, but worried, of course, that jobs would be at risk if the arms sale to the country was halted, which means, like, no, really, only the jobs of, like, lobbyists, which, who cares? They can all die for all they care. No, we're not advocating violence here. Got to back up. But in the Senate, the kingdom is starting to lose its traditional bipartisan support, with almost every member of the Foreign Relations Committee calling on Trump to investigate Khashoggi's disappearance. Very, very important there. Like, this is pretty much a no-brainer at that point. So, the Washington Post has meanwhile devoted some pretty extraordinary resources, both the reporting and editorial side, to the case of its columnist. They've really gone in on this, which makes sense because it's their guy who they're losing. So there are 5 articles, 2 op-eds, and an editorial about the Khashoggi case in today's Washington Post. So they're going in. They're going in on this situation, that's for sure. So you got Stephen Cook coming in, talking about this. So he spoke, Blake Hounshall's editor-in-chief Politico, spoke with Fred Hyatt last night. He's very passionate about getting to the bottom of this and holding those responsible publicly accountable. And Fred Hyatt, for those of you who don't know, is, of course, the editorial page editor of the Washington Post. So yeah, he's very passionate. I'm sure pretty much everyone at the Washington Post is very passionate about getting to the bottom of this awful situation. And so it looks like they're going in, and let's hope the government goes in just as much too, in an attempt to get really to the bottom of this. So the vice president of the Center for American Progress, an influential liberal think tank, has also called on the U.S. to freeze arms sales to Saudi Arabia over Khashoggi's disappearance. They were funded by, like, Dubai, like, or the UAE or something like crazy like that. Yeah, but CAP is a pretty crazy place. Kelly Magsman, she's the president of this, or co-president, whatever, of this thing. The Senate, the United States should immediately suspend arms sales to Saudi Arabia until we get answers on #Jamal Khashoggi. Magsman, a former Bush and Obama National Security Council staffer, also warned the affair had the potential to unify a bipartisan anti-Saudi sentiment. Just 2 years ago, though, the think tank was like, we love the Saudis. We love them. A prominent right-wing columnist and, like, big war hawk and pro-Saudi guy. He's a neocon through and through. Max Boot, was a longtime defender of the United States Saudi alliance, warned that if the Saudis did kill Khashoggi, there would be hell to pay. I mean, I say, like, obviously we don't go to war. Obviously we cut all ties with them. We are not doing anything with Saudi Arabia. We're not giving them any money. We're not giving them the arms. We're not talking to them. We're not trading with them. And we got to get other countries to do it too, to really freeze them out and make them feel the burden. Make sure they never want to kill or even look at a journalist who works for the United States, someone in the United States ever again. Like, that's pretty much what we got to do. And we can do it very easily and not through war, because we have the power in that relationship. It's something that really Trump does not seem to understand. All right, we're going to move on now to the Democrats. And remember back in August, if you remember, when the Senate Democrats struck a deal with Micheal Avenatti to confirm a package of 15 judges to lifetime appointments in the federal judiciary. That was so fun. Like, what do they get in return? I really don't even know what they got in return for that stupid deal. But apparently, we're doing it all over again. Politico reported this morning that McConnell is preparing for another package of judicial nominees, and the Democrats are wrestling over how hard to fight. You fight them! So literally coming from the man who just nominated Brett Kavanaugh. Like, really. According to Politico, the problem is, once again, getting red state Democrats like Heidi Heitkamp and Joe Manchin home to campaign. The challenge is clear. The Democrats cannot consent to a too-speedy consideration of judges because liberals inside the caucus and outside the Beltway are still livid about how Kavanaugh's confirmation went. Thank you. That's pretty important. Let's turn on the air horn for that. Like, we don't want another Kavanaugh, and you don't either. Yeah. So right after Kavanaugh was confirmed, the site reported that McConnell was still not done. Of course, he's never done. He's never done. He's always focused on getting conservatives through. He's always focused on pushing his extremist agenda, and that is something that honestly, the left could learn from a little bit in the way how dedicated he is, which would be nice. Hours before the Senate was set to approve Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, the Senate Majority Leader said in an interview Saturday that he plans confirmation of more lifetime justices before the November election. The Kentucky Republican plans to meet with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer about a package of nominees, and Schumer's response could determine when or whether Schumer's vulnerable members will be able to go home and campaign for their seats. So, like, we got Heidi Heitkamp. She wants to go home. She wants to campaign. And what I really say is you say, no campaigning for you. Like, that's not the way it works. They have the votes to confirm these judges no matter what, because they're Republicans, and Republicans are in control at the moment. But it is an odd political decision for Democrats to not even try to oppose them, especially coming off what was clearly an energizing moment for their base in the fight over Kavanaugh. This isn't about expecting Democrats to somehow win despite the numbers. It's about expecting Democrats to do their job in opposing these judges. Just because you can't win does not mean you essentially switch sides and actually help our big boy, wet president, continue confirming more judges than any other recent president, which is, like, still, it's ridiculous, and it should stop, like, immediately. So here's my proposal. What if, and this is not my proposal, but yeah, what if instead of fretting about these keeping red state Democratic senators in town to vote on Trump judges, and by the way, Joe Manchin can go suck a fat one for all I'm concerned after his Kavanaugh vote. Ooh, like, that is some unacceptable stuff. Like, he wants to go home to campaign. Oh, little baby wants to go home to campaign. No. Go campaign in hell for all I care. Jesus. Yeah. I mean, what you could do though is you can send him home, and you slow down the process and refuse to negotiate a backup judge. And here's the thing. And McConnell, what he can do, though, is put them all up individually. That's the thing. You can put them up all together, or you can put them up individually. It's going to be either way, it's going to be very, very important about the way he puts them up. So what he can do is confirm he definitely should not be able to refuse to negotiate on a pack of judges. Make McConnell put him up individually. That should be obvious, and make people like Joe Manchin and Heidi Heitkamp harder to reach. They're further away. So, I mean, yeah, maybe you should send him home. But, I mean, I really don't know why we're trying to, though, help Joe Manchin in any way. So we definitely can't help him. So, Brian Fallon, the executive director of Demand Justice, and he's a Schumer staffer, Hillary Clinton centrist dude, he told Splinter he had essentially the same idea. The easy solution is that if the red states Democrats want to skip town and go home to campaign, that's fine. But the rest of the caucus keeps the Senate in session will slow down Trump's judges, like Chris Van Hollen and Mark Warner hold down the fort in D.C., while Donnelly stumps in Indiana. And Adam Gentleson, who's a former Harry Reid staffer, said the Democrats should do the same thing. So this is a pretty popular idea, and I think that's something that would be pretty good. I think that would be something that would be not even a very bad situation there to try and work with. Gentleson said that Democratic senators could take a stand by putting one senator on the floor at all times to object to the nomination. That would force McConnell to run through the cloture process for each nominee, and it would be like a pack of them. So it would take even more time. The idea is to drag this process out for about a month and not let one judge, at least try, maybe get a judge confirmed, but not get more than that confirmed. which would be very, very good, very, very important. So it's the logic of confirming them in a quick and easy win for McConnell is that they're going to confirm them all anyway. Then it doesn't matter that the Democrats are there to record no votes. Let Heidi Heitkamp miss the votes. Free Heidi Heitkamp. Like, let her go. Let her go free. Let her campaign. Let her talk about tariffs in North Dakota. That seems to be the only thing she is hardwired in her brain to talk about tariffs. But I do give her credit for voting against Brett Kavanaugh. But still. Yeah, so bear in mind, too, that people don't really seem to mind Republicans missing these votes. On the first half of the day last trench, or huge group of judges were confirmed by unanimous consent on August 28th. On that day, a Republican senator by the name, you may have heard, Ted Cruz, got dunked on by a hot guy on a skateboard in Carthage, Texas. He was there campaigning, and I mean, vulnerable Democrats should probably be able to do the same thing. If Ted Cruz can go to Carthage, Texas on a day that Republicans are voting judges in, Democrats can do the same thing. It's up to them. We don't need you. Again, as I said to Joe mentioned before, but in different contexts, now that I know this interesting idea here from Libby Watson. I did not realize it was from Libby Watson here, so credit to Libby Watson. I'm sorry for not crediting her idea more, but still, Libby Watson, great job, Libby Watson. This is a good idea. I like it. Good strategy. I appreciate it. Thank you. Libby Watson, obviously former guest on the podcast. Yeah. This is not the most consequential fight in the world, although judges are very, very important. They can stop key policies like DACA, travel ban, whatever Trump decides to push through in his last few disastrous years. It's not like Kavanaugh, where for a while it really looked like the Democrats might have been able to take him down. The only consequence is what this conveys to Democratic voters, telling us that this needs to be a party that cannot shy away, especially in this age, from a fight. And that's what they need to do here. No doubt about that. And whatever the best way to do it, which right now looks like sending the red state Democrats home and just resisting McConnell on everything with the good Democrats, pretty much, that's probably the way to do it. But really, whatever the case may be, do not, under any circumstances, let do not let McConnell put the pack of judges all up at once. Like, that would be absolutely ridiculous. All right, so pretty much here's what's going on. I do want to get to the story quickly because we're a little squeezed for time here. Here's a paragraph of the left-leaning Institute of Taxation and Economics Policies and the nonprofit Prosperity Now have released a new report on who benefited most from last year's tax cuts by the Republicans. White Americans earn about 77% of total income in the United States, and they're now nearly getting 80% of the benefits from individual and business tax cuts generated by the new law, the analysis found. African Americans received about 5% of the benefits. Great. And, so that's pretty much how it goes along racial lines. Latinos get 7%. And African Americans get 5% despite earning 6% of the nation's income. So, yeah, really cool stuff. Latinos got 7%, although their share of the income is about 8%. And, yeah, so as a report note, just 1.2% of white families earn enough to be in the top 1% of income earners. That is 3 times as much as Black and Latinx families, which is 0.4%. On average, white households will receive over $2,000 in tax cuts this year. And Latinx families will receive, Latino, whatever, will receive in around $970, and Black families will receive about $840, which again, it's a huge amount. Makes me really want to vote Republican again. So we have, of course, known this since obviously the plan's been passed, but that's the thing. So that's also what we know. So aspects of the bill like raising the estate tax threshold, slashing corporate tax rates when CEOs were already open about the plans to hoard the extra cash, and eliminating state and local tax deductions were not meant to help the poor or working class or even middle class people, but those at the top. That's what it was about. Those at the top of the income bracket. It was a perfect bill, really, for them. So, yeah, that's what's going on with that. Right now, we get to my personal favorite story of the day. We had some rough stories today, and this is what we got.